There are salmon streams throughout this province that are being devastated in terms of their value as spawning streams from logging. That is against the Federal Fisheries Act. It's a very clear act. It's absolutely against the law. The TRIP report is a provincial government report that chose 21 cut blocks at random. That's an important point. They chose them at random. They found that more than half of those areas had major damage or moderate damage to salmon streams. They found that in 90-some% there was lack of compliance with the federal and provincial fish forestry guidelines. And so we've launched a project in coalition with the Fishermen's Union, in coalition with the sports fishermen and with environmental and native groups, which will enforce the Federal Fisheries Act. The federal government doesn't seem interested in doing it, nor does the provincial government, so it looks like it's up to the public to do it.
One very great concern is that this is really the first time the wild forest has been cut. But the plan is to continue to do this every 80 to 100 years or so. And the feeling by a great many ecologists and foresters is that this continuing pounding of the land, treating of it this way, will cause the forest to collapse. And essentially that's what's happened in areas like Great Britain, on the west coast of Scotland and Britain, where we once had rainforests. We now have vast areas of essentially where you still get the great rain, as we do here, but it's essentially heather, shrubs, instead of the rainforest. So you can actually collapse an ecosystem from having the greatest biomass on the face of the earth, and that's our rainforests, down to a shrub ecosystem with leached soils, rock, and acre upon acre of 3-foot-high shrubs. You can see the stumps that are sitting on the rock. Well, what that tells you is there's once soil on that rock, and it's no longer there. Now that hillside really gives you a feeling for what happened in Mediterranean areas like Greece. The first cut doesn't turn it to solid rock. But if we're going to continue on this process, every time you cut that forest, and they're planning today to cut it every 80 or 100 years or so, the rock becomes more and more. And for any of you who have ever seen or visited Greece or seen the travel posters of Greece, that rocky outcrop there with the stumps sitting on the rocks gives you kind of a sinking feeling in your stomach, because that's the exact same process that happened to Greece.
All the best science, technology, thought and consideration is given to logging sites so that they will not be damaged in any kind of permanent way, and that for our companies at least, a side hill site would not be logged at all if it were thought to be fragile. Occasionally, bad things happen, and what can be done is done to repair that damage.
In the UK, we're being told by the Canadian Embassy, government officials of your country, industries that represent companies that work and that are responsible for this destruction, we're being told that we needn't worry, everything's fine, they've got it all under control, they're replanting trees, there's no problem. And now I can say quite categorically that I've seen it and it's not in control.
Why did you leave approximately 27% of the trees you cut on the Queen Charles to lay and rot on the ground? For which you were trying, I understand. Why did you do that?
To say that it was, some great area would be an overstatement. It was not a particularly huge area. It was a mistake, undoubtedly. It was in a time of economic distress, and it's something that can be remedied. And it certainly is nothing that does any kind of lasting damage.
Certainly damages your
yeah, it does. Well, the image is a hell of a problem, and it certainly damages that. But I guess it was a mistake, or it was too bad, or it's wrong, and there are things like that happen, but I don't regard that as a mistake that is going to bother your conscience forever.
What's your first impression today?
This way. Sadness. As we drove down the hill, the mountains. It's very sad. See, looked like a tree graveyard. Very sad. Yeah. But it's very beautiful too when you get away.
Like around here, you mean?
Well, not around here. As I look in, over in the mountains, it's beautiful.
Mr. Reinhardt, you prepared to step aside and allow McMillan Bloedel to go to work or not? Yes or no? Take that as a no. Asking you to step aside and allow McMillan Bloedel to go to work.
Absolutely not.
Asking you to step aside and allow McMillan Bloedel to go to work. I'm not going to stop.
Be organized.
Mr. Haskell, I'm asking you to step aside.
I have.
Stay out of the way of McMillan Bloedel and allow them to go to work.
Am I out of the way
Is
now,
your answer
sir?
yes or no, Mr. Haskell?
My answer is I'm agreeing with the courts completely.
That's all I want to hear.
Am I off the road right now, sir? Am I sufficiently off the road?
Good.
Thank you.
This is a direct assault against nature, and I will
Take
not
that as a no.
stand by
Thank you.
and watch it happen.
If you wish to contact a legally duty lawyer, provide the telephone number. You understand?
Yes, I do.
You want to call a lawyer? You're not advised to say anything, but anything you say will be used as evidence against you.
Union, what we will can be accomplished still.
I'm doing it for the children.
I guess what happened, that you knew she was falling down or what?
She called. Her stuff broke, and then she held onto the rope with her hands for 3 or 4 seconds. Then the skin broke off her hands, coming down. Yeah, pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, let's move her out of there. It says, don't move her.
Touch her.
Well, did you have a blanket stretch or anything like that?
We had there was a sleeping bag on the ground. I said, get that sleeping bag, pull it out quick. We're all holding the sleeping bag taut.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, so she hit the sleeping bag with her feet first, you know. I mean, it broke out of my hands. I didn't have a good hold on it, but I guess the other people did, you know. And,
You guys are lucky you saved her life with that blanket.
Well, that's
likely.
We were talking about that. He said she fell from a long way, 40, 50 feet.
I'd say 60, 65.
We were trying to figure out.
Just see if we got this other bag in here. No, we got the other bag in here. That's fine. We don't need anything out of there.
Am I far enough away, Sid?